day 3 of Champions Seoul playoffs. We're coming to you live from the COEX Atrium here in South Korea. I'm your host, Yingsu, and I'm joined once again by Kakuka and Mimi. It's Elimination Day, otherwise known as the worst day of the year. It's so sad.
Yeah, exactly, especially if we think about the teams that we have. For example, Trace and DRX, they fought so hard to ended up getting top of their group, and look at them now.
It's heartbreaking for the teams to go home, but it is the start to a story for some of the teams that could end up going on a run here. There's a lot of potential in these rosters for G2 and Fnatic, and also for a Trace that has popped off, and DRX now as the last hope for their region. Something will start, but of course, it's sad to see people go home as well.
Yeah, and for some of those teams, they will be able to make a run from the upper bracket, because after what happened yesterday, Mimi, did you expect that Leviathan will be the one to get that chance?
I really didn't. I think that Lev's form has been really inconsistent this year, whereas G2, I feel like, have been so solid in their fundamentals, and honestly, I thought that Lev called a better game after a rough start to Icebox. They came back with a lovely second on the comeback, and then their Abyss just looked great to stay in the upper bracket. The second one, though, was a surprise as well, Bea.
I think that at some point Team Heretics needs to stop, because yesterday they were very close to making history. They got the same. They got Fnatic to relive their worst result in the history of the global events. And we're talking about Fnatic. The form that we saw from them, especially on that first map, we were talking about how they're using the Fnatic composition, but the way that they use it and the lesson that they taught everybody that was watching was amazing. So very looking forward to see what they can do from the upper brackets.
Yeah, let's take a look at the bracket, because Heretics, they're on their way, and surely they're going to win a trophy this year, right? No more second places. Surely.
You're trying to curse Yinsu. Let him do the run.
It happened for Genji.
We don't speak it till anything happens.
It would, you know, it'd be fair as well, but yeah, I think also, you know, Sen has a good roots.
And I wonder how many other people, you know, managed to get the results right yesterday. So let's take a look and check in on our pick'ems, even from our watch party friends, powered by AWS. Because my pick'ems are in the bin, so I'm just gonna do whatever Razzie is doing, because he's overtaken Nate Shot, Mimi.
That's nuts. I mean, doing well up there. We all got rolled yesterday by everyone predicting G2, but some people a little bit smarter than us. I'm impressed that some of these guys are maintaining such high records with the amount of upsets we've had this event.
To be fair, I just wanted to get G2 Fnatic. I got both predictions yesterday wrong, but I still get G2 Fnatic, so I feel like I'm winning.
You do, because if we take a look at the bracket, the second game that is coming up today will be G2 versus Fnatic, of course, in elimination. But first, we have DRX taking on Trace. Of course, DRX, the last team standing as the home team, as the hometown heroes. So I think a lot of fans are going to be very excited to see how far they could take this. But before we get into all of that, let's take a look at our MasterCard fan poll. We want to know which team you think has the best shot at surviving elimination today. Scan the QR code on screen to cast your votes, and we'll have the results in just a moment. And while you're at it, make sure you use the hashtags VALORANT Champions and VCT so we can feature you guys on the broadcast. But before that, you guys, who do you think has the best chance of surviving elimination today?
I'm gonna go with DRX, because in the second one, I don't know what to expect. If we get the same form that we saw from Fnatic, yeah, obviously G2, but I also saw some mistakes from them. It depends on how Trace is going to be feeling. If you think about it so far, they have won against the international teams. It has been against EDG, their regional rematch that they've lost. So, you know, there's hope there.
I think it's going to be really hard for Trace to come back from a really crushing loss against EDG at their first global. And DRX, even though they are now down in this lower bracket, I didn't feel like their game was quite as one-sided. I think that roster is still showing a lot of potential to maybe go on a run here in the lower bracket.
A lot on the line today, but we can't let the players have all the fun, you know?
We can't.
We gotta have some competition on the desk as well. I'm gonna put you two against each other to test your knowledge in a game that is known as exclusively as Ozat. Ozat.
Never had another name.
Ozat. I was hoping that GB would get to do that, because I think that would be super funny. But we're going to show you guys a collage of VCT stars, and I will read a piece of trivia about one of them. You guys will have to pick who you think I am talking about, okay? And of course, tell me who's that. So let's start right off the bat. This is your first clue as to which player it might be. Name the player whose global events are Champions 2023 and Champions 2024.
Only? Exclusively?
Yes.
Bianc?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you both going for Bianca?
I'm going for
Yeah.
Bianc.
Well, let's see.
Bianca.
Who's that? Who's that then? Who are we talking about? Is it Bianca? Because, drum roll.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. Okay, it's a 1-1.
He
Don't
is
worry.
the upset man. He's on Billy for their upsets. He's on Trace for their upsets.
And he's always losing to EDG.
Yeah, that too.
I have a feeling that they're no longer upsets. I just feel like he's just good, you know.
I mean, being an upset doesn't mean he's not.
At some point, I think we got to stop looking at them as upsets. Maybe today. Maybe today is the day. Maybe today is the day. Let's go on the next one. Who is the youngest player on the oldest team here at Champions? I'll let one of you go first, because then if you
Do
have
we
the same
the definition
answer,
of oldest team?
I guess it's average age is
Okay.
what I guess they mean. Kukuka, you can start first, given Mimi went for Bianca last time.
What teams are old?
I can tell you who it probably isn't. I think there's a... he is 19 years old, if you want a clue. He is...
I have my guess.
Okay, what's your guess?
You go first.
Second.
All right.
Go for the same. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to second as well. Yeah.
You're both going for the same answer?
I-
All right,
yeah,
let's
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Who's that? It is
'Cause
second indeed.
I remember
Good
thinking
job.
about this in Madrid.
Very good job. You guys are on the money so far. It's a best of 5, so we got 3 more left.
Okay.
Let's see the next one. Who is the player with the most followers at Champions Seoul? Let's see. Who's that? That's an easy one.
Is it Tense or Benji the fishy?
It's Tense.
Is it Tense?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got like 2 million followers.
Yeah,
I
but
think.
it's Benji. I'm gonna go for Benji.
All right, you're going to go for Benji.
Yes.
Okay, first time you're not going with the same answer. Let's see. Who's that? Who's
Yes!
that?
You would never let me down.
Benji Fishy. Yeah, I knew that. I
You
knew
guys
that.
gotta heckin' love Tense a little
America
bit more.
sometimes is so like an eccentric that you like forget about what's out
I
there.
swear,
I will
Tense has
say
an absurd amount of
it's a-
followers.
He does,
is
but
an
the
absurd
only
amount of
reason that
followers.
I knew that is because Benji's spoken about that before. You know, in the beginning of his career, we were
That's
like, oh
really-
damn, he's come over and he's
Do you
got that
remember
many
the
followers.
presentation that I did in China pitching why Heretics was going to win and the amount of followers that they all had
I
combined?
knew he was
It a
clouded. I didn't
massive
know he
number.
was like tens clouded.
He's hella
I'm
clouded.
gonna be honest. I thought NA had that on lock. So
All right.
get your
Well,
numbers up,
Let's
boys.
see who's got this next question unlocked, which is a player with the most kills on a single map at Champs Seoul. Who are we going for?
I feel like I want to go
Seoul.
Kong Kong.
Okay, you're going for Kong Kong and Mimi.
Blind guess.
Do you want the kills? Do you want me to give you the number?
Sure.
It's a cheeky 30 bomb.
I'm gonna go for Buzz.
Okay, Buzz.
Oh, that's such a
versus
good one.
some
Kong Kong.
That
good
is
games
such
in
a
group
good one.
stage.
Let's
That
see,
is
who's
such a
that?
good one.
Who are we talking about? It's
was
actually
Dirke.
Dirke. It was on
Nikita.
Lotus, right? Lotus.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, the cheeky little Lotus. And
Was
last...
that in the Billy game? Or the
I think it was the
game?
crew one. I think it was the
Crew
crew
game.
one. The
Because
last
map
one.
3, he was insane.
Smash them.
Right, let's take the last one here. Player that has played versus PaperX at at every global
There is no way I
Hey,
get
There's
house.
this.
only one answer,
attended.
and it's ZMJJ. Kong Kong.
Very, very sad. That's a sad
Yeah, I'll
one,
give
I
it that.
feel like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're both going
Yeah.
for Kong Kong. Let's
Yeah.
see who it is.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's that? It's
it's-
actually...
What?
It's actually...
I was honestly,
But
I would have never guessed that. Like,
but
I don't think I have that information in my brain. I don't have a lot of information, but that one, like, that has always played against PR. That's too deep. And I am the
EDG
one that
has
makes it
played
complicated.
Yeah, that's why I thought they were throwing you off with a Chichu one there, because Chichu was also in there. So I thought maybe that's what we're going for. But hey, I believe Mimi's the winner, right? Mimi got 2.
We won
Wait,
together.
I'll go the Benji.
Okay, you win
I
then.
think no,
together.
we win together.
We win
It was
together. You're trying to.
Share win.
We're so together and.
It's not
Kinda.
going to be like that for the rest of the day, though, because there could
No?
only be one winner for the match 1 and match 2.
That's true.
And speaking of, we had a chat with Mako, of all people, about their loss to Sentinels and the pressure of playing on the big stage in this Omen player moment.
안녕하세요. DRX에서 활동 중인 마코라고 합니다. 오늘 경기가 되게 좀 1세트는 접전으로 가고 두 번째는 살짝 밀리긴 했지만 사실 졌을 때는 어쩔 수 없이 모든 스포츠가 그냥 어쩔 수 없이 살짝 우울한 것 같고 뭐 진 걸로 인해서 이제 저희가 또 얻어가는 게 있다면 저는 괜찮다고 생각하기 때문에 지금은 그냥 안정을 되찾고 있는 중이에요.
Usual position to be playing in, but still with a rolling thunder at the shot. All combined through. Buzz has been unaccounted for, and he's spraying them through. Seltzer's half will not save you.
사실 프로게이머라는 인식이 이제 되게 뭐랄까 그렇게 좋은 편은 아니다라고 생각을 하거든요. 요즘 들어서 이제 좀 좋은 것 같다라고 생각이 되긴 하지만 사실 프로게이머가 아니라면은 이렇게까지 저희가 힘든 건지도 모를 것 같고, 사실 제가 뭐 다른 사회생활을 많이 해봤던 건 아닌데 그냥 제가 겪은 일 중에 이 프로게이머라는 직업이 정신적으로 되게 많이 힘든 것 같아요. 그래서 이거를 겪지 않고서야 대부분의 사람은 모를 것 같아요. 사실 저희가 질 때나 이길 때나 팬분들도 저희랑 같은 기분을 느낀다고 생각을 하고 있고요. 뭐 악플도 있는 만큼 이제 저희한테 오는 도움되는 글들도 많이 오다 보니까 사실 좀 반반인 것 같긴 해요. 근데 그건 저희가 안 보면 그만이고, 또 악플도 결국에는 저희를 위해서 해주는 말이다 보니까 저는 그렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
I mean, you heard it there from Mako. Things do get stressful. And Mimi, we saw some of that stress and the way that they couldn't 100% deal with it in that last game.
Yeah, I mean, this was a tough one for DRX. Sentinels, I think, had the read against Gen.G, and I think they had the read against this DRX team as well. It was a heartbreakingly close loss to get things going on Sunset. And I think what really lost them this game was their flood retakes, which are normally so good for them. Sentinels was always pausing, fighting, and denying those setups, and winning out on a few of these key rounds to close out that map.
They were thrown off in many instances. I think that seeing the Neon on the other side, I like some of the things that they were bringing on the table, but I agree. I think that the loss on Sunset was too hard on them for them to continue and perform a reverse.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a young roster, and losing out in that way, it's always tough. We've seen multiple series that have gone that way. Lose a close OT, and then it's a lot more dominant map too once your opponent is feeling it.
But this is the thing, though. It's going to be a very different beast today that they have to face in comparison to Sentinels. But Kukuga, they were moments of brilliance from DRX.
Yeah, I love that we got that player moment from Mako
there.
because there were so many things that they actually tried and were so good on Sunset. I grabbed the round because I think that we needed to, refresh people's memories into what was going on in that matchup. So it's round number 10. Bear in mind, their attack wasn't, it was successful at the end of it, but they were struggling a lot because of many factors. One of them being Zekken on that operator. He was putting so much pressure into everywhere in the map that they were a little bit, not having the right ideas. But there is something that they do, which is creating these conditions surrounding the map from the beginning that make this rounds like this one possible. So right at the beginning, right off the bat, we're going to see a lot of utility from both of the teams fighting for that A main control, right? And all of the attention is just drawn into this. The paranoia, the aftershock, the wall, the eye, everything is being put onto this, and we understand what's going on. But then we look, why is Mako almost on A-Link? He has decided, while all of this is happening, to just TP. If we look back, he goes from tiles and TPs into top mid just to generate all this extra pressure. That is the deeper layer into what they're doing. Not only that, he's just going to keep walking, making sure that he's in the right angle, and flashback with the right timing. Very cutesy, very demure. He's just going to be walking and covering his back and getting that kill onto Zekken. Not only this is important, because once Zekken gets that information, Mako is already onto site. I want you to pay attention to what happens here and just look at the players that have, by the way, been given all of the pressure from A main, now being... Just look at where the players are looking. They don't know how all of this is going on. Flashback is running onto A-Link. Mako's getting the kills. Poor Celsius, my guy, doesn't even know where to look because he's just being ambushed from every single part of the map. It's a very clean round. It's a very good set strat. And these are the kind of rounds that DRX, even in this situation, can pull up and will need today.
And I think that's the big difference in today's matchup. DRX lost a heartbreakingly close game where they had a lot of opportunities, where I think they were playing their macro really well in a lot of these rounds and couldn't close it out, versus a Trace who is coming in after a pretty dominant loss, which I think is really indicative of form and why I think people should still give credence to the potential of a DRX lower bracket run here.
I mean, this is the thing. We even heard it from Termi, I think, in a press conference where he said, Sen, we're just the better team on the day. There's things that we need to fix. And do you guys think they've had enough time to fix those things?
I think that it was extremely close. They could have perfectly won that map, and I think that they're a team with a lot of experience. You have players like Mako, like Buzz, that again have a lot of experience, and they have what it takes to bounce back.
Yeah, they do indeed. One play which you mentioned, very demure, very mindful, very cutie, is Flashback, and he is standing by with Golden Boy.
Hey everyone, here with Flashback, and well, want to ask you first thing about, what has the mood been like within the team since the loss to Sentinels, but also how has the experience of being able to play with the likes of Mako and Buzz and have Coach Termi there helped you grow as a player?
센티널한테 지고 나서는 5연승만 하면 된다고 최대한 좀 긍정적으로 생각하려고 했고, 형들한테 배운 것들은 지금 처음 시작할 때랑 저랑 비교하면은 진짜 약간 병아리에서 좀 치킨이 됐다고 말할 수 있을 정도로 큰 성장을 했다고 생각하고 있습니다.
After the loss to Sentinels, we've just tried to think of it positively. We only need to win 5 games now just to win the championship, so the mood has been positive. In terms of playing with likes of Mako, with Buzz, and having Coach Termi as my coach, these veterans have helped me grow from like a baby chick to like a full-grown chicken now. So I'm a completely different player as I was from the first beginning.
Okay, full-grown chicken. All right, love it, love it. All right, well, thank you so much for your time, my friend. Appreciate you. Best of luck. Thank you, John, for the translations. Back to you guys.
I love that analogy because he's not the only rookie, we have in this tournament, but one that's definitely impressed a lot.
And his story is so cool because he's a homegrown talent from DRX Prospects, their farm team. We saw him come up last year and play with the roster for a bit and then got sent back down to the inactive roster. But since he's joined heading into Stage 2 for DRX, we have seen a meteoric turnaround for this squad. And his performance, despite how young he is, despite how inexperienced he was coming into this event, has not missed a beat compared to what he was putting up in Pacific.
And there are so many things that he can do, like the play that I just showed, the way that he plays with the Cypher, how he can also be a supportive player, how we can also see him with the operator is a very long list of things to go through, and to perform at this level, it is very, very impressive to see.
Yeah, there's lots of chickens in this tournament. There's also lots of chicks as well in terms of, I'm going to double down on that analogy forever.
It's a good one.
Because let's take a look at the rookies and see how they hatched as this year gone by, because Kukuka, this timeline is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Just think at the beginning of the times, and when we talk about experience, we talk about Buzz and Mako, and we just wanted to show people how, in the grand scheme of things, things are going to go down today when we talk about time on the server, because it is almost a couple of years of difference competing in the game for both of the rosters.
Yeah, when DRX were playing at their first global events, only Mako and Buzz were playing as pros. Everyone else has come up in these last few years and has kind of come out of nowhere. And for Trace, I think that's true as well from DRX. Bianca has been to an event before, but for the most part, all the rest of those guys are new, fresh faces making their first global appearance here at Champions Seoul.
Yeah, and let's talk about Trace Esports on the other side. Probably the team that everybody was shocked at their performance in the group stage, but Mimi, they did lose, and they lost pretty heavily in their first round.
Yeah, I think this was quite a disappointing game for Trace against EDG. They've played against this squad so many times before, and well, unfortunately, it was the exact same outcome as when they played regionally. EDG knew their setups inside and out. I think did such a good job of just contacting around the map, finding those gaps, and then exploding these rounds and winning out with their superior team fighting.
It's literally like PTSD. Like, they've been performing so well in their group. They overcame, as we're seeing in this graphic, the victory against Leviathan and against Vitality were crazy to see. Everybody's Pickens went on the trash, but then they faced off EDG, and it's like seeing all their demons, and they have the face of Kankan.
I think this team, this game kind of proved that they have a really big reliance on their macro, their strategy needing to work. That's why they looked so fantastic against teams like Leviathan and like Vitality. But once the game gets simplified a lot and it ends up just kind of becoming a bit of a gunfight at times, I think that's where their plans start to break down. You have a little less like innate synergy between the players than some of the other top teams. But you can see they're still having fun swinging them mice around on stage and have time to bounce back here.
I think it's one of the things that it gives you, like debuting here in the international stage. Everybody feels like they have an idea on the other teams, but then when a new one comes in, it's not until you're in the server or at least you're competing in the tournament, that you can really draw those comparisons or get a feeling of how you want to play against them and what to expect from them.
And I think there's only one thing that's going to be better than Trace shocking everybody, upsetting all the other teams, is being able to do a lower bracket run. Can you imagine, them coming out of groups, dropping to the lower bracket instantaneously, and then going all the way from here?
Even if they don't make a run, I think just beating DRX would be a shock, eliminating the last Korean team at the tournament whose form has been so good.
And winning against an Americas team, an EMEA team, and a Pacifics team.
Yeah, they're running the gauntlet.
That's a good end of the year.
They're running the gauntlet. But this is the thing, you mentioned Kangkang and how on form he was against Trace. But this is the thing, behind the scenes of that stage, they are all friends. Very, very, very good friends. And you can see here, Kangkang talking about how he doesn't want Trace to lose that confidence and want to make sure that they can actually bounce back because he believes in them. And if Kangkang, of all people, believes in a team, I'm inclined to as well.
I love the fact that they have that support, they show that support amongst the region. I think it has to mean a lot for them because it's not only that they're from the same region, EDG has gathered so much experience in international events that if they can recognize that talent and that potential going forward, it says something about them.
It absolutely does. And for Trace, I think that they've earned some confidence. Those 2 wins that they got in the group stage, even though that EDG game was tough, I think it is easy to kind of wipe that away as, hey, we played a team we have played a ton of times before, we lost them again. C'est la vie. We still have had a great run here at Champion Seoul, and this is an opponent who isn't familiar with them, who doesn't know them inside and out, and I think that can help them to reinstill that confidence they showed in the groups.
Yeah, speaking of confidence, let's send it back to Golden Boy and check in with Tracy Esports, Bianca.
Hey everyone, here with Bianca as we get ready for their matchup. And well, I want to ask, this is going to be your second champs where you've shocked everyone, you've made it out of groups, you did it once with Billy, now you're doing it here with Trace. What has been the difference between, you know, the Billy squad and the Trace team, and how does that prepare you for potential victory here against DRX today?
那就是首先恭喜你，这是你的第2次的冠军赛之旅嘛。那当然你们也是惊讶到了很多人，因为你们能够从小组赛当中出现。那去年是跟 BLG 一起来的，但是今年是跟 TE 一起并肩作战。你觉得今年和去年2支队伍有什么区别呢？以及说想问一下，今天为了赢下这场胜利做了哪些准备呢？
我觉得2支队伍更大的区别在于我吧，因为毕竟是指挥嘛。然后经过这2年的比赛经验也好，然后更多的。经历了更多的室外嘛，然后也是成长了挺多。然后今天打第2季吧，我就感觉要把我们自己的东西打好吧。然后赛前布置其实已经很透彻了，所以我们只要把自己的事情以及战术打出来就好。
I think the biggest difference is me as the IJL, and I have also learned a lot, got a lot of experience for last 2 years. I mean, from the failure, of course. And for today's matchup, it's against DRG. I mean, we have to do our own thing well, and actually our preparation is pretty clear right now.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, losing is learning. Congratulations, and hopefully see you next time. All right. Back to you guys.
I love the way he talks about learning from his losses and failures because some of you might not remember this, but last year when he was here, he was eliminated and he had to go up against EDG and DRX. It's basically history repeating itself, and a lot of the CN fans on Chinese social media is backing the Bianca redemption arc.
You absolutely have to. I mean, they lose to EDG just like they did at Champs last year, but now with a new team around him and the learnings from not just what he achieved at Champs and at these upsets thus far, but from a year of playing in the VCTCN Partnership League and being able to have that really consistent gameplay against teams who are getting better, like FPX, like EDG. And while they didn't make it to Masters Shanghai, the best in the world were there, and I'm sure scrimming against this Trace team. We've even heard from squads like G2 about how good they've looked even back then. They seem to have come out of nowhere to a lot of the global fans, but they've really been grinding a long time to make it here.
And it wouldn't be the first time that we see a team that was good at some point in the game, but just as it evolved and as the region evolved with it, they were just left behind. Some of the ideas were lackluster, some of the players just lost the touch, or maybe the meta changed. The agents that they play, were not good anymore, and they just didn't fit into the whole ecosystem. This has not been the case, especially for Bianca.
Honestly, I love that Arrival interview interview featuring Bianca with GB. So let's hear more from Bianca and hear what he had to say about the loss against EDG and today's matchup against DRX as well in this Omen Player Moment.
大家好，我是 T 速的 Bianca， 心情是不好的。EE 最大的特点就是个人能力上比较强嘛，然后打法上也比较自信。就是刚开始打法上面没有特别自信嘛，我觉得在战术部署上面是没有问题的。然后也是被他们以就是枪法发挥吧，然后加上一些个人能力吧，然后拿到一些比较大的优势，然后后面也是没有调整回来嘛。个人上面以及主要是在 EDG 这个实力上面找到一些原因嘛，就是我们今天其实战术部署以及赛前针对，包括教练组的研究，其实都很到位的，包括他们每一步的动作其实都是知道的。但是就是输在了枪法上以及自信上面嘛。
Trying to draw their attention and a good angle for Kung Kung here.
Divide and
Tuck
conquer.
himself in the corner. 1 HP's not enough. Kai prevails and now the 2v2. They know about Chichu. They don't know about Simon. Now they do. They can get that defuse started. Chichu's got to close the gap and fast. Market his only option, his only way, and it's not good enough.
他们 DRX 因为也是亚洲队伍嘛，所以比较了解，因为之前跟他们训练次数挺多的，然后也互相知根知底吧，属于是。然后就是我觉得在 DRX 开局我们要去找到自己的状态吧，然后希望能针对到他们一些打法吧。
I think he hit the nail on the head there, Kakuka. They have to come out swinging with full confidence.
Yeah, I think that forgetting about what happened against EDG or understanding that probably they just know them too well, and just facing DRX as what they are right now, wounded, right? They were close to getting that first map. They weren't able to get it, and Trace has been looking good throughout the tournament.
I think Trace is as well as a team that has been really willing to change up their ideas, change up their compositions. The Bond comp they became known for was new for this event. I actually have a lot of faith in this team to go back, look at the issues they found in that EDG game, and not just come in with a newfound confidence, but also to adjust the macro, adjust their approach to the map veto, those kind of things, to show something new against DRX now in this lower bracket.
Well, I wonder if the fans believe in them as well, because it's time for the results of our MasterCard fan poll. Earlier, we asked you guys which team had the best shot at surviving today's elimination matches. And my oh my, this was a very close one. And you guys went for DRX.
I'm not surprised about the DRX. I think that, you know, they're right. I'm surprised about how close it is between G2 and Fnatic. And
This
that
is
Fnatic,
G2 and Fnatic for you.
but especially with what happened yesterday, that they're above G2, right? I think that the performances, yes, it was not the best, but to see Fnatic still on top. Mimi, especially speaking about time zones, what do you think about this poll?
I love talking about time zones. It's a bad time for both Europe and no, it's better for Europe. So
I mean, I think it's too early for us.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just think Fnatic fans are sick of losing to G2 in every other game, that they're like, this is our game, we have to do well
I
here.
was there. I
We
don't want
have
to see it
do
again.
something. But let's take a look at what we thought in terms of predictions, because we trolled yesterday. We hard trolled.
Yeah, it was bad.
Let's see how much are we trolling today. Doug and Baby Big coming out saving us, and I'm not biased ever about anything.
No,
So, yeah.
never been.
Never. Not one time.
I really want to see. I would like to eardrops on the conversation that Baby Bay and Doug had about how Trace is going to win this.
How do you think it went? How do you guys think that went?
Bro.
Bro, yeah,
Let's
that's
do it again.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You're breaking everything, man.
Yeah.
I reckon Baby Bay's internal clock probably told him to vote for Trace. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
it is an upset, but I don't think it's an absolutely insane thing to say. I think there
agree.
is a world where DRX
Yeah.
could look shaken off that loss. I think if Trace is more confident and play the macro game that they brought in that group stage, there is a real world where they can win this team. They're an underdog, yes, but they've already proven that they can make these upsets happen.
Yes or no? You think I was crazy for going for Fnatic?
No,
I think that's gonna be a
very
close game.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
It's
I
like
it.
yesterday, we all predicted the same for the first game, and we were like, no, this is a bad idea.
You're
and
too kind, you're too kind, because today is all about survival. It's gonna come down to DRX, Trace, G2, and Fnatic. It's time to see which team will make it through day 3 of Champion Seoul playoffs.
elimination matches. We're going to send 2 teams home. It's not obliterate G2.
In a tournament like this, we have no time to dwell.
I'll just try to come back stronger next time.
Fnatic gonna have to fight through the lowers.
Trace just wasn't enough.
DRX down to the lowers of our playoffs.
Getting closer and closer to the top of the mountain.
Fnatic, one of the best teams Valorant has ever seen. To have such a prestigious IGL with Boaster, it's definitely an exciting match for me. Kind of like a proving match that I can be better than him. My team is better than theirs.
Boaster, he is a very good captain when he's fired up. Can lead the team to win a round just by himself.
Fnatic are poised to win this round. Boaster swinging around the back, finds a headshot on the first, the second. Looking for the third, he's got it!
You saw Fnatic being at the peak of the game, destroying everyone, having the best runs, but people are catching up.
Now he's left alone in a 1v2. Got it delivering and Sauce Bus on the other side. The time is in his favor. Valen gets the 4. Nice!
Boaster and Ron are like really intelligent players and people as well. But I believe my captain will come out on top.
Boaster, you're known as one of the best IGLs, but I'm gunning for that title.
Because 在我没来到 T1之前，他们经历过太多的差一点嘛，每次都差一点进入世界赛，然后这支队伍是我职业生涯以来，感觉那种想赢、想胜利那种心情是最强烈的这种。
사실 뭐 IGL로서 당연히 이겨야 된다는 마인드로 들어가야 된다고 생각을 하는데 무조건 이기려고 악을 써야 될 것 같아요.
他们 DRX 因为也是亚洲队伍嘛，所以比较了解，因为之前跟他们训练次数挺多的。然后希望能针对到他们一些打法吧，对。
사실 그레이스 입장에서 지금까지 좋은 결과라고 생각을 하고 있고 하지만 이제 저희한테 승리를 좀 줘야 되지 않나 생각하고 있습니다.
Tracy Sports. DRX.
This is it. This is the lower bracket, which means there will be no second chances. DRX and Trace have to bring their A game if they want to make a run, and this is going to be a very important map pool.
It doesn't matter what happened in the groups anymore. It all comes down to this if you want to survive. First, we're going to get Lotus, which is probably the best map if we remove Ascend out of the equation, just as DRX did, right, Mimi?
I do think it is really interesting, though, to see Trace going for that second round banned on Bind. That's been the map that has defined them thus far at Champions Seoul, winning against both opponents in the group stage with that deadlock composition, but now moving away from it and trying instead 2 maps to start, which we haven't seen from them yet, at least at Champions Seoul.
Yeah, on the other side, I love this Abyss pick from DRX. I wish they did this in their previous game, which I feel like is giving us an indication that they put into the work when it comes to the mind games too of this veto.
It was definitely a conversation that was had, and probably they thought about it. Maybe we should have gone for the Abyss. It's a map that is ready. It's a map that they're liking, that they're playing here, that they're winning, so why not? As we're saying, this is do or die. If you have a card to show, it is the moment to do it.
And it's especially true for DRX, the last Korean squad here. As we look at the agent select here, Foxy9 is going back to this chamber comp. We saw DRX play this against Fnatic, and it was an absolutely dominant win there.
I love the fact that they mix everything that they like about the compositions that they play throughout the year, and they come up with this. But even though we see the chamber and how it can make the game different, I am looking at Bus. The games that he's having lately, how strong he starts on every single one of them. With DRX starting on the attack, I think he has to be the #1.
I'm looking at Bianca. He's the man of the upset last year and here again. It's the IGL on defense. He's going to have to keep his team in this.
Well, this is it. It's elimination, and we're heading to map 1 right now. Let's send it over to your casters. They're always quiet and reserved. I didn't write this. Brandon Saito.
Thank you very much. Didn't quite catch the end of that one, but it's all good. It's an elimination game on the line here. Trace versus DRX, and a lot to play for, a lot to go over as well. The desk has already kind of paved the way for us, I think, talking about the map pool. We can get into the nitty-gritty of that one, talking about how Trace have now having to pivot, I think, their map pick options. But honestly, the big overarching one for me is the fact that you've got DRX, the lone hometown heroes right now, up on the chopping block with elimination on the line as well. Not just a lone standing team representing Pacific, but also the Korean home crowd.
They're going to start on attack side, and they're bringing out this chamber composition once more. It was an adjustment that DRX made for champs. Foxy9 takes that first swing. It's a free one for him with the rendezvous setup. Doesn't find anything and backs off behind the one-way. But DRX, the spike is actually heading to try to find some kind of pick on B.
We go for a bit of a re-clear of this A setup, but it's a high-low as well. Foxy9, that is overzealous. A little bit eager as well. There's no follow-up and follow-through by the rest of DRX.
That's very bold. Good hold from Trace.
And the one-way as well, renewed up, but still the Viper wall should allow them access. Looking for a contact clear as soon as the curtain will drop. Paranoia, and the Prowler doesn't actually hit towards the back of it, so unexpected, but still the trade is clean. Well, King with a lot to do into that spot, but just can't overcome it. Hail of bullets that end up coming his way, and Kai want to get cheeky with it. Pushing past, trying to take that time in, but he's spotted. Just onto the brink there, on the edge of the action. Bane, make sure to clear out Heybei. Sole survivor. It's a 1v3. It would require mistakes from DRX, I think, to allow him into this. Spots the head of Akko, jump spotting. Bane is weak. Gets himself in, but still Bane clean with it. 3-piece of the pistol.
A little bit sloppy from DRX in terms of how they were using their utility and how they wanted to break that rubble hold. But in terms of the shooting, they just had all of the advantages there. And I think that's where we're going to see this DRX squad really push that advantage, is by trying to take as many gunfights as they can. Trace are a smart team. But I think if we learned anything from that EDG game, EDG were forcing fights up in the tempo, trying to contact in and rely on the rifling, and they ripped Trace to pieces. If DRX watched that game, though, you can only take away big ideas like that because we haven't seen Trace play on Lotus or Abyss.
Okay.
Fung Fung takes down Foxy9's head right at the start. Foxy9's having a rough opening to play in Chamber here.
That's the thing with a chamber pick as well. It's quite obvious in terms of where you're going to be trying to play.
Definitely. I mean, majority of these early rounds, Foxy9 is going to be trying to post up on those kind of lines. It's also somewhat susceptible to buying Guardian, Odin, something like that, and spamming.
Yeah.
Almost always he's going to have that rendezvous tucked into that corner of lobby. You can move it around a little bit, but there's a decent chance that a defender can get some good damage onto you, forcing out that rendezvous and then popping shots.
Just one shot fired to break the haunt as well, so Bianca doesn't really have much to go off of.
And I fear he's not going to be able to hold this one down on his own. So many players on the other side, and yet overthinking it perhaps here a little bit, Marco.
I'm a bit worried about this one because still Trace is sticking this. 3 players stacking over towards A as well. And with time running short, that's a necessary element, really, that you're going to be needing to win the round if you are DRX in this spot. They might start to increase the tempo around about now.
Paranoia,
as we mentioned, still pivot options aren't quite there. Beautiful with the flash still. Time just in there for them, yep. Whip the outlaw around and catching it onto the back of Heybei. So the danger is navigated.
And I think Trace gave them that one a little easily there. I'm not sure what that decision-making was from Law King and Kai. They had Paranoia. They went for... They assumed that the whole hit was coming through tree, and they're asking Fung Fung and Bianca to do an outrageous amount here if they wanted this round to go in their direction. It's damage, the name of the game at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Tried to take guns out of the hand of DRX. But you do not want to be giving orbs to Buzz.
He's steadily trying to build up to that showstopper. Going to be missing the target here, Mako. Oh, he's going down with a ship. Oh, no. And even dropping flashback. So the guns, that's some significant economic damage that Tracer being able to at least do to DRX here. See how many guns they will be able to keep.
Mako watched the lifeboat just escape the Titanic without him on it.
I know, it's tragic. Oh.
The paranoia is nice from Mako there, obviously, catching Locking and onto Kai. But they didn't fall back into defensive positions, using that backside and the cover available to them.
Yeah.
I really feel like Trace thought that was coming full through tree. A bad read, unfortunately, for them. And DRX have got a bit of an odd buy coming into the bonus. It definitely feels like a bonus round, not a full rifle round. Can Foxy do anything at the start here?
It's going to be all that war occurring out towards the rubble as well. That paranoia is beautiful. Buzz caught up, but still he's safely tucked inside the smoke. Just tries to take that angle and fight, but again, nothing to really add on. Extra spice in terms of that util, and players are accounted for right now. Bane still looking snappy alongside Flashback. Maybe enough to make something of this round still, but leaving it just down to the one, and he will be quickly approached. And the double-up discipline of Trace is enough to seal up that round. Puts at least the one on the board for now.
Okay, what a round. Stacks over towards the site, correctly reads things as the IGL. He's already been eliminated from Champions once by EDG and DRX. Not today, he says, with a 4K in this Rubble fight. DRX have been putting a heavy emphasis over towards Rubble in these first few rounds. It's only been 3, but a lot of the early round pressure has been in that direction. Trace, I think that was a 4-player stack from the defenders. This time, going to be fighting it with 3. And Hebe coming over to help. Same stuff again.
Yeah.
Very, very early paranoia usage from Law King. I'm not a big fan of that, especially if DRX start committing less and less to Rubble. You're going to want to see Law King hold it. Such a big tool to play retakes, for example, reclears later in the round.
Just putting a premium on pushing Foxy 9 away at least.
Which is interesting because he's still got a goose egg out here.
Exactly, 0 and 3. Was giving Fnatic a bit of trouble though when Haven was played. DRX.
He absolutely was.
Pulling out this composition. The operator was doing work.
I'm afraid I've got to remind you that this map is called Lotus though.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. 3 sites, close enough.
Yeah, that's reasonable, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, the brain fog comes for us all.
Still those 3 players from Trace holding in this direction. And if Foxy9 wants to make something happen here, got to get past the Prowler.
God. And he's absorbing a lot of util into the process as well. Does have the rendezvous. Just get out of dodge, tries to adjust with the shot.
All of this is not really doing much in the round. The time's ticked down, and now Mako's got a decision. Where do you go? How do you get in?
You're going over towards C. You haven't cleared any of this prior util down. Hebe wants to just land those shots, and he will do that. Nano swarms as well, making sure that nobody can follow up onto this flashback. He's going to try and barrel through and find an opening in through the B site. With 2 players dropped in through the connector. Bianca now last alive on that spot. Alerts them. Nightfall scatters out onto the site now, trying to put the pressure and apply it straight to them. Kai. He's left into that 1v2, hops up and over, but a watchful eye of Mako will drop him down.
Oh, it's not elegant, it's not beautiful, but it gets the job done for DRX. Flashback opens things up just by bulldozing his way through this B main angle, through a Viper wall as well. Wide swinging to take down Law King. And I think that that is going to be, like I said earlier, a really big key. It's just forcing gunfights. DRX have gone really heavy into rookies with solid rifling.
Yeah.
Really solid rifling. I think they outskill this Trace roster if they force fights against them. At the moment, DRX are playing some slow rounds and not really getting anywhere with it until they go for the fights.
That's concerning, I think, that waiting outside C, not clearing any of the mollies, pulling out some of that util. Kai, he's getting cheeky. Of course, risks need to be taken. Maybe not for Foxy 9, though. He will be able to get out of dodge there. Taking a lot of damage in the process. In through the C site now we go. DRX get the confirmation. So player lurking out through Waterfall.
Does Feng Feng commit to this? It would be extraordinarily ambitious to go for it in a 4v5 when you only have classics. So presumably, if Trace were able to get a pick here or there, maybe that would justify expending the ultimate.
Yeah, might hit the go button.
DRX don't actually have very much space on site here. They don't control Waterfall. They don't control Spawn. And yet, Trace are not really forcing the action. They're just playing for exits by the look of things.
Yeah, slow and steady. They are one of the most, you know, quote-unquote standard teams that we have out of the China region in terms of how they play. All about trying to be efficient with the rounds, and they don't make too many risky plays, even though timing would have been right for it potentially into this one. Still, as you said, going to be going down to the spike here, denying a lot more. But this is DRX now with 4 rounds on the board. They're getting up to this next buy round and starting to feel a little bit of a worry for Trace, I think.
Absolutely, especially just their decision-making in that moment. Which ultimates are you afraid of charging up there on DRX? They already have the showstopper, they already have Pit. What are you worried that Mako's going to get up to his Omen ult?
Yeah.
Like, why not go for that and try to do some economic damage at least? Keep DRX honorable. Okay, never mind, let's move on. Round 6 in the lower bracket here at Champs.
Same setup by Trace.
Very, very similar. Are we still getting that paranoia off the beginning from Law King? Yep.
Yeah, paranoia, Horn 2, a lot of that missing as well. The Horn catching Foxy9! How the hell did that happen? Couldn't quite get out of there. I'm not sure if the nade rebounded and broke his TP. Might have been hard committed. No, it looks like it's still up on the minimap, so I'm not sure what happened there from Foxy9.
Yeah, mate, neither am I. I mean,
okay.
He was overwhelmed with utility coming at him. He's trying to find a timing past the paranoia, and then he has to deal with the Horn and the Boombot. He just, he didn't have it. He didn't have the mental bandwidth, I think.
Nade though, it's going to be bouncing off the back wall, clears. And Partition's out this side, still Kai. He's going to be holding strong. Needs to be that stalwart defender, but he's going to be dropped from the rocket, but still goes at least pound for pound there. Nade again to back them away. Still these kills in the favor of Trace. 3v2 for their retake, but the Pit placed down, propped up. Very difficult to deal with if you are Trace now. It's going to take a couple of raw duels, maybe a bit of spam, getting lucky. They're going to be hoping for it, hunting for it. Rifles in hand. In terms of util to work with, it's not too much here. Adjustment, smokes, drops the Bane! My God! Just wrangles that rifle and brings it closer and closer to victory over the precipice. And a 5th round for him, with how important that is as well. Economy most likely broken for Trace. Listen, I'm no mathematician. They might be able to scramble together a buy off the back of it because of the loser's bonus, but this is getting really, really tricky.
Certainly is. And another big round from Bane. He's had a couple of them so far. He's 8-1 in the server right now. Good to see a rookie player that hasn't had the best performances just yet at Champs find his place, find his footing. Trace are going to be broken. The economy's not looking good for them. You're dead right, and they're looking to push.
Taking that contact as well. Oh my God, weaving in and out of the bullets. Barely escaping death there from that main fight as well. Trying to put the squeeze onto DRX.
Nice
Chasing
reaction.
them from behind, yeah, and it is a good reaction.
I like this. They got out just in time to avoid those players pushing them from C. Now they should have a good idea that it's an empty A site. They should be accelerating. They're a little slow with it, to be honest, but Foxy9's watching the flank.
He is watching it, but he's really going to be locked down onto this spot still, nailing these shots. There's a bit of danger that he potentially might lose his operator. Needs a bit of help from the rest of his team, but Plaid's down, and apparently easy pickings for him. He's on for the ace.
That's definitely going to make the stats look better. Grab the 4K on the anti-eco round as everybody's pushing you one by one. Not bad. He does his job there, Foxy9. Stops any level of danger. Trace, try a little pocket pick. But I think what we've seen so far from them in these first 7 rounds is that they do look a lot less comfortable, a lot less good, strong ideas compared to the maps that they've been winning on so far at Champs, which is Ascent and Bind. We've only seen them win on Ascent and Bind. We've only seen them play on Ascent, Bind, Sunset. It's a bizarre situation in which they got the same map pool against Vitality and Leviathan.
That's why we were kind of thinking about, okay, I'll hold that thought for now as well, as Foxy9 does once more pay the price of peeking that angle up through that is, I mean, okay, hey, Bay, listen, team's already up 1, but he decided to take the fight anyway, so he's brought it to that 4-on-4. Nade held, sees alongside it. Good additions to try and clear this space into it, but a corner not accounted for, and Bianchi happy to oblige. Feng Feng right over the shoulder. Buzz dropped in the process. Now ADS, but lining them up. Flashback might just be their savior. Weaving in and out of the angles. That's ridiculous. Even getting a bit of a run on as well, because he knows he's done the business and done the damage. Feng Feng needs to isolate this fight in through the corner, but Mako drops him.
The rookie players are just taking turns, cycling through, seeing who can step up for DRX and pull off a big round win. Trace are going to take a timeout here. It's already been called. It is ridiculous, I think, that they got themselves up into a 5v4 and then committed to try to stop that. I don't believe that we saw the snake bite come out. I could be wrong about that, of course. But it looked to me like Hebe had swung without really having too much of an advantage in terms of how he's going to stop that from snowballing on top of him.
Yeah.
It's a scrappy game right now. DRX seem to be hard leaning into individualism. I do think that that's a good game plan, but it's creating chaotic situations all over the place. Foxy9 is still trying to do the same swing over towards Rubble.
Over and over again.
Because he's realized he can get in front of the paranoia. So in Foxy9's head, he's thinking, okay, Law King's throwing a bad paranoia here, I can punish this. And then Tracer thinking, oh, he's running in front of the paranoia every time, we can punish him. So it's just a bit bizarre swirling of interactions of kind of suboptimal play and who can get the better end of it, who can grasp it.
But form being that deciding factor, I mean, it's kind of expected, right? When I think us coming into this, we're looking at the map pool overall, and Bind and SM being the only two maps that Trace ended up winning on. Bind took a big knock with EDG. They hard antied them. I went over that VOD thinking Bind was going to be played today, much to my dismay. It's not.
Yeah.
But EDG really did hard counter a lot of what Trace were doing on their setups, and it has knocked their confidence. Even still, it shows with them second banning the map in this map pool, in this big ban system that we've got here with these games played.
Let's have a look at the A-Rubble fight again, though. Does Foxy9 get in front of the paranoia?
Oh, yes, he does.
Yes. Do they try to punish him again? Yes. Same scenario. It's like they're just rolling the dice to see what happens there. Both teams believing in their own individualism, not changing anything.
It's a fake TP forward as well. The Satchel might do enough to remove, just the one Nano Swarm.
That's not bad, though. I mean, they've removed the alarm bot as well, so they've got rid of some decent util over here. Trace got good information on the A site. Do they choose to go for a lockdown?
Oh, TP in through the back. That's Mako as well. He's trying to clear the most of the way. He's been naded by his team. All good, though. Paranoia sweeps through. Buzz follows up off the back of it, and his team are at least trying to collect up these kills onto the site, and they will do just that.
Lockdown goes through, but they've already lost two.
Yeah, so the lockdown is going to be used to try and play this one, but the nade is perfect. It just rebounds, and yeah, you can feel it, man. It's untested, it's untempered here by Trace, taking him onto this map, and you're going to need raw individualistic aim to carry them through this round for even a chance of a win. Listen, the Guardian's in their hand with a decent amount of chip damage. Pushing back Foxy9 in through the corner. Bane, though, still locked onto sight. Slightest of off angles, anticipating the wide swing, and he'd be right on the money with that. Earns himself a kill as a result of it. And rapidly, the options are running out here for Trace once more. Gotta hightail it, gotta save the guns. Stem the bleeding in whatever way you can, but at this point, the map is running away from you.
There's not even a trade as they come through that smoke there, Trace. It looks like they're pretty far behind the Lotus meta compared to teams like DRX. And we've already seen DRX pick up big wins on this map. They managed to take down Fnatic on Lotus, which is a huge accomplishment. I think mostly because Fnatic got caught off by the composition and how well DRX played around it. Foxy9 was having a blinder of a day on Chamber that time. But Buzz was also a monster. Had over 1 KPR in that entire match. And this is the kind of game where you can really flex your muscles a little bit and try to take things to Trace.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Does Foxy9 swing in front of the paranoia again?
They're holding a Season 8 this time, but again, it's probably not going to be stopping him. Yeah, as soon as the util goes flying, he's back out of there. It's pulling out so much of the util from Trace that leaving them with nothing but scraps, really, for a lot of these retakes.
He's fine doing it at this point. There wasn't a paranoia used from Law King, so Trace were trying to adjust something there, and it looks like Foxy9's not really trying to contest the angle anymore. He's doing the same thing because he realizes it gets his team a util advantage, but he's not actually staying long enough to get punished. So we are now seeing both sides adapt to this fight over towards Rubble in subtle ways. Foxy9 gets that rendezvous back online again. But there's a one-way in his face. Should get broken by his team as the Viper Wall goes up.
Bianchi Sending out the util. Spades of it now. Needs to assist with most of this. Buzz is hot on the heels of all these players. Goodness me, he's just chopping them down. There is no defense over towards the A rubble. The protocols in place from DRX are just immaculate.
He had an outstanding kill on Fong in the previous round, and that's another world-class shot. This time, though, Fong with the revenge.
He's got to try and answer back, hasn't he, Showstopper? It's going to be used. That's incredibly preemptive. To no avail.
On whom?
And now walking back up, creeping to try and take up that space once more. In through B, there might be an appropriate response again from Trace. They have two players up through heaven. It's Kai, shoulder to shoulder. Shots need to be landed here. Spraying them down, the spacing just not good enough. And time now on the other foot. DRX pushed into a hole there, really, with nowhere else to go.
Trace finally managed to be able to pick up a round there. A big one from Heibei. This guy's been so incredibly important for them in their run at this event. We've seen him wear his heart on his sleeve too. And it would be crushing for either of these teams to go out. It feels too early to be sending teams home from our playoff stage already.
Yeah.
But that advantage, that extra lifeline of the upper bracket quickly dwindled away for squads like Trace and DRX.
And now just the hardest possible path if you want to survive in the tournament.
Fong's been spotted. I don't think he even realized it there. It was that box jump peak. And Fong wasn't ready for it. They also, though, DRX did not manage to punish him. They were going for that wallbang spam to try to aim punch him, knock him off the angle. Instead, the fight comes towards Bianche.
Maka's already crept up onto this. The lack of presence over towards A Rebel as well. Pretty big indicator now to Nightfall as well. Bust through. Again, Showstopper in his hands. Be able to pave the way, lead the charge for the rest of his team. But honestly, the damage is already done. Kills are already through against the back wall. Heibei might need a change of trousers after that one, I think. Barely surviving. Three v 5 though to play this retake, and with an operator in the hands of Fong. He's only watching for the flank.
Sees nade. Kai dodges.
Corner, yeah, Kai's able to survive. Still time is running out here. Spike's going to start to at least tick away from them. And the kill's also getting away with them at that. There's a trade, at least online, but you won't be able to save this operator. Feng. Shots off, but yeah, quickly approach in terms of his position. DRX just trying to essentially get this up to a 10-2 finish at the first half. Looking unstoppable.
It's absolute domination. It really is. Trace don't have the layers to their game on this map, despite picking it, which, you know, that's a surprise in itself today, I think. But they don't have the layers. For example, here, there's no real idea of what they can do to stop the Showstopper from Buzz, taking all of that space away. And you see it in the body language there from Bianche, the IGL, who's been to champs before, won games at this tournament before. Feels like he's out of his depth here.
Similar play to what we've seen prior. This time the Haunt is able to just light up Fong. And Buzz for the easiest diff in his life there. It's all supplemented by that util. Taking point, Prowler spots it in through the door. King, lucky to be alive. Bianche though traded out, just trying to hold it down through the side and wasn't expecting players to creep up behind him when the door swapping by. That is just absurd. Flashback just flexing on him at this point. And Kai, it's not going to be long for this world. Tagged up through the wall, stray bullets. It's enough to do the job there. That's a 10-2 half for DRX. Domination doesn't even begin to describe it.
This is the experience difference. This is Trace having not played Lotus against top teams in the world and been able to refine their meta over the course of scrims. This is DRX winning the map, barring a miracle.
Oh, come on.
Trade in any phone in any condition, guaranteed, and get $800 off.
For the map so far, it's, you know, scrappy, it's individualistic. Teams and players, you know, they're leaning into that raw aim and just hoping that they can brute force their way through a lot of these scenarios here. But for Trace as well, I mean, reflecting on how far they've come, this is a bit of a heartbreaking scenario for them, I think, as well, when the expectations were probably quite high for themselves. They come out of their group as the first seed, but now it's feeling like they're in a bit of a free fall.
I would agree with that. I mean, they got the most unlucky playoff matchup they could have done, playing against EDG, who know them like the back of their hand. And now as we get more closely to playoffs, these teams now respect them, know how to punish their map pool. DRX today banning Ascent to force Trace to take us here to Lotus. And DRX have woken up and realized that they're going to win. They didn't let the DRX loss to Sentinels affect them, and they've come out here with some fire.
Yeah, and the pressure's just sliding off of them, I think, at this point, despite the fact that they are last holders of the kind of respect here for Pacific, the chance for them to lift a trophy, for the Korean crowd too. That would affect them.
Yeah, there could have been a huge amount of weight on their shoulders coming into today, but they're playing quite freely.
Foxy9. 2 bullets expended, just from the Headhunter.
I actually think the DRX have got better over the course of this map too. It was looking scrappy at the beginning, but some of the stuff we were watching from like round 8 onwards was pretty clean, pretty nice. And as they kind of relax into things, we'll see whether they can convert the pistol too. 50 seconds left, and this could go A or B. I mean, it looks like an A fake that they're going to try to pivot through the blue door, which is open, and Bane's watch for Liza here.
And Ben's going to have a lot to do into this spot. Anchoring player into it, Prowler in through his face, but it matters not. Foxy9, he's there to push through the smoke, is watched by Lao King. He's to follow the tracers. Meanwhile, the rest of his team happily cleaning up. And now it's curtains. An 11th round for DRX, a second pistol round.
And if there was hope for Trace, I think it's just gone down the drain. Law King did manage to double his kills, but he's gone from 1 to 2. That's a big fall for a player that people were excited to see popping off in the group stage against 2 great teams. But DRX today perhaps taking their opponents more seriously, maybe.
I think they've definitely done their research in terms of the best way that they can find the win here.
Yeah.
Banning Ascent, essentially telling Trace, pick your poison. Do you want to play Bind again, where you've just been anti-stratted? Mako will send out that Paranoia. Sees nade is, oh, it's perfect. But a TP to evacuate, so survival there for Lao King. Posturing them over towards A Rubble.
Yeah, I mean, Kai's attempting to get this play through, but there's a trip right to the left of him. So Kai's got angles to heaven. Obviously, DRX know that, though, and there's nobody posted there. So this is going to be another opportunity for Foxy9 to mop up some ecos. See if he's good for it.
And he's got the backup, at least to back out the rendezvous, but at least behind him. I mean, he saw a lot of heads.
But they're not trying to contest.
No.
The time is simply ticking.
He's missed the timing, though. Maybe falling asleep ever so slightly. The bullets not quite landing onto the heads there, so player surviving. Kai heard the footsteps, baited out into the open. That was Buzz. He had his aim trained onto that spot. Expected outcome for him.
And a good
35 seconds.
Good time into the snakebite too to stop any kind of reactive push from Trace.
And it's not synced up too well, is it, from Trace? Throwing everything at the wall, seeing what can stick. Fung Fung's got to go down with the ship here. Can't survive into the next with his Marshall in his hands. And he won't, but that's up to 12 now for DRX. Right now, they're on the cusp. The confidence has been there right from the beginning, to be honest.
And have we had a more dominant map here at Champion Seoul? Not that I can remember, but my memory's not photographic.
Yeah, listen, we're getting old.
But this is not just dominant in terms of the scoreline, but quick. And the rounds haven't been very close either.
Right, it feels like we just got here.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the fastest map that we've had so far. Trace is going to give it one more go.
Exactly, one more go. See if they can survive a bit longer in through this map. Opting into this fight over towards A Rubble once more. It's delayed in terms of the util here, and you're going to start to see it once more. It's a season nade. Caught onto the corner. Lao King is happy to stand his ground. Rest of his team alongside him. Taking his fights onto the open. Bane was spotted there, but as the door was just the slightest of angles, enough for Mako to capitalize.
Tracer not really using that pick and the snakebite they just threw to go forwards on A, though. They're going to allow Buzz and Mako to set up another quasi-crossfire setup here. And Foxy9's dangerous too. He's front B with a judge. And
Yeah,
Kai
this spot is brutal, man.
appears to be wandering into a spider's web.
He's clearing it well. It's the appropriate way to clear that spot. And Mako also just goes for a little bit of a peek as well, seeing if he can offset that advantage that's now earned and gained over for Trace. Following through here, Buzz spotting his players out, but just can't quite land it. Not there with the reaction times. So off the back of this, Trace will be surviving a little bit longer here in through this map. Any damage the flashback does will be good for the team. Taking guns out of the hands of Trace, just making it that much more awkward.
Important for Trace to be able to win one of these rounds where they're advantaged in the economy, just to feel like they can, to feel like they're not outclassed. There is a mental difference when you're in groups versus when you're in playoffs. There's also a mental difference when you're on a map that you've won on before and you know that you can beat global teams at, versus this, which is newer territory for them. Getting anything here is just going to give them a slight flare-up of that flickering flame of hope.
The trouble is, not much room to breathe, and every single round has danger lurking around the corner. Doesn't matter if DRX are on the low buy. Seen enough thrifty wins to know that that's the case. Sees nade up and over. Paranoia as a response. Buzz is right round the corner. Shoddy in hand. Upgrade obtained. And beaming him down. My God, Buzz! Didn't have to do it to him like that. It's dirty. It's disgusting to finish. And the angle, watch for. Fung Fung dropped to his knees. 13-3 is the finish. Map 1 sealed up.
In the blink of an eye. We barely got started with Lotus, and DRX have already sent us barreling into the next. They have absolutely no interest in being here longer than they have to. Whistle forward to Abyss.
Yeah, dinner reservations, I think, something along those lines. But Abyss is that next map coming up as well. It'll be an interesting one to see if Trace can really pull anything from those hidden reserves.
गाइस जो भी नहीं है जल्दी से लाइक चैनल सब्सक्राइब करो।
right, here standing by with Coach Termi as well as Jen, and we're going to dive into this here. What did you tell the team after the loss to Sentinels that not only motivated them, but also how happy are you with the performance on map 1? Because it was incredible.
일단 오늘 선수들이 굉장히 좀 침착하게 잘 해준 것 같고, 사실 센티널전을 저희가 첫 맵을 이길 수 있었는데 마지막 라운드 뭐 5대3 같은 경우 그런 부분에서 저희가 침착하게 대응하지 못한 게 그때 당시에 패배의 요인이라고 생각하고, 오늘은 특히 그런 것들을 성준한테 강조하다 보니 선수들이 좀 차분하게 잘 한 것 같고, 그래서 이제 좀 스코어가 좀 쉽게 나온 것 같습니다.
I think the players are staying very calm because I think when we look at that Abyss map from the Sentinels match, we could have won.
Yeah.
You know, we could have gotten away with that map too. And then I specifically mentioned you guys have to stay calm because, you know, look at that 5v3 situation when we had the man advantage. Don't make that happen again. Just stay calm. And I think the players are doing extremely well in terms of staying very collected and calm, getting the communication flowing very well. So I think that kind of, you know, the results on Lotus kind of speaks to how they remember to stay calm and play their best game.
Well, I mean, it speaks for themselves for sure. Back to you guys.
Literally.
We heard Termi there speaking about staying calm in a man advantage situation, but this is the thing. They were staying calm, Mimi, when they were in a disadvantage situation.
Yeah, I mean, they were more than calm. They were chilling in this map. This felt like the fastest match of the tournament thus far. And some of these round wins, especially at the beginning of the map, were wild because Foxy was losing the first fight like a million rounds in a row. They were playing out these 4v5s and then just winning them in the late rounds regardless. They went over 80% of their 4v5s.
I think it is so important for them. Also thinking about the rest of it. Yeah.
I love it. Sorry, carry on.
No, yeah, but thinking about the rest of the tournament, it's so important to listen to Termi and think about, even in this situation, you can still win the round. You have to take things little by little. Do not underestimate your opponent. Even when the score was getting very, very separated, it didn't matter for them.
Yeah, and this honestly had echoes of the EDG game that we saw for Trace, where the initial game plan is something that is very structured. They went for a lot of these A fights, and then once that started to fail, right, that chamber was baiting out the utility, they weren't getting value from it, and these rounds were getting into positions where the DRX individuals could just take fights. They were winning them every time, and that just built confidence and snowballed this win for DRX.
God. It's crazy to see that they were evened out on those first kills. It was such a quick map. It is very important also to notice that this was Trace's map pick. They decided to go here in Lotus. They had good results regionally, and it was one of their better maps. So now going to Abyss, things might get shaky.
And it's not like they didn't do well. They came out with full confidence. They got the first pick, like 8 rounds, but they just couldn't convert them. This is the other thing though. Foxy Knight, even though he went down in a lot of situations, let's take a look at this crazy 4K we had in the Verizon high speed moment. What a redemption moment for him as well after going down quite a few rounds.
There are like 7 rookie players in this matchup today, and I think there were a lot of questions as to how they could perform under the pressure of the lower bracket. But I think we can be happy to see that all of these DRX rookies, and Foxy Knight especially, looked outstanding in this game. You could not see the pressure on their faces. They were up there, they were having fun, they were winning individual rounds, and they were playing incredibly well as a team. Everything you could need for your first map to maybe get a lower bracket run started.
But being realistic, those kind of plays, that play in particular, should have never happened. Like the spacing between the players, how and you know, the attempts of trading being so separated is the kind of thing that is going to make Trace lose this matchup. Because as I'm saying, going into Abyss, things are only going to get even more crazy because DRX feels very comfortable in this map.
Yeah, once these rounds crack open for Trace, I think they really struggle to slow down and focus on those fundamentals. Instead of fighting forward, taking that time to regroup, set up your double swing, set up those basic things that are really hard to do under pressure. And again, it's now 2 series in a row where we've seen these problems crop up.
I'm glad you mentioned Abyss as well, because Buzz was having a great time on Lotus as well. He's about to absolutely dominate. I am genuinely, at this point, Mimi, a little bit worried for Trace.
I think you have to be. I mean, map 1 was a roll, and they're going into very, very comfortable territory for DRX on Abyss.
Yeah, speaking of Trace, let's hear what their coach had to say ahead of map 2.
Hey everyone, GB here alongside with Luna for translations and Coach Destroyer as we dive into this one. Your back is against the wall here. Abyss is coming up for map 2. What did you tell the team as they're getting ready to take on DRX once again?
我跟他们说，他们现在打到这里，我已经为他们骄傲了，他们不需要有任何的负担，只需要尽力做好自己的就可以了。
I told them, don't be too much pressure on your shoulder. I'm already proud to all of us to get this far.
Yeah, and we are all proud of them as well, of course. Let's go ahead and send it back to the team.
That's my coach. That's my coach. But how beautiful will it be, though, if out of all of the maps we go to, that Trace Kakuka can come back on Abyss?
I think that it would be very poetic, and I don't want them to have another one of the Lotus that we just saw. I want that even if they get with this feeling of you already gotten this far, you were already first to the group, think about your year as a whole and how much you've grown and how well you've performed. You do not want to leave in that situation.
And I think the coach telling them that is all you can. If you're talking about the swings, the mistakes, everything that went wrong on that map, I think that'll just continue to weigh down on you as a player. You have to kind of take the gloves off. You've done something amazing already.
I think you just speak about it.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, like, I think what matters now is the mental, the confidence, bringing back into that, seeing what you can do, playing with your cards already out on the table.
I would love to see what they go with in terms of composition, because 2 times they played at 2 different cons, maybe a 3rd time lucky, perhaps?
Yeah, probably. Now that they're coming into the international stage, maybe they want to swap things around, maybe do a mix and match. We've seen a lot of Abyss, so it wouldn't be that big of a surprise that they pick up something from another team.
Oh, it's the Astra. They're incorporating the Astra.
I love the Astra on this map. I think that global utility is super powerful on defense. It adds a lot into the post plants as well on this map. And having that KO Sova, as we've seen on a lot of other maps, really powerful combo.
It is 2 very similar composition. For a second, you might look at this and you think this is a Sen, but it goes a lot about gathering that information, trying to read onto your opponent, and setting your duelist very, very well to try and get those openers, and maybe this time getting the rounds for the side of Trace.
And Kai going up against Buzz as well on that jet is going to be a feast. This is the thing, Coach Destroyer, he's proud of his boys already, but Brand and Sideshow, imagine if they bring it back.
Well, it's going to take a miracle, I think, for Trace at this point, but they have completely chopped and changed up their entire Abyss composition. They needed to do that. They haven't had good showcases when they played this map in the past. Only 2 times that they have played it, they've both been losses. And DRX at this point are quite well drilled. They've got a lot of reps on the stage playing this map, but that does open them up to potentially getting counter-stratted, getting antied to some degree, I suppose, as well. And maybe that's why Trace have opted in as well. Kai on the jet. This guy can be a heavy hitter. Maybe an element to try and shut down Buzz in that head-to-head.
Yeah, and with Trace having an only 20% win rate on defense on this map.
Yeah.
Pretty poor performances, 0-2 in China, and DRX it being their home territory. Yinsu asks the question, you know, imagine a comeback happening. I mean, John Lennon had struggled to imagine a comeback like that happening, I think.
Yeah.
Your imagination's pushed to its limits, but
I really do think so. It's a high-low setup as well to try and cut up the addition of the attack side here. Flashback gets caught straight up into the cam. Buzz! He responds. There's 2 players chopped up, maybe going for the second one. That is just decisiveness and composure on display. In the blink of an eye, the round upended. King pull back at the start, tries to fake like he could be backing away, but it's still double player hold. Buzz jiggling, gets the info that he was looking for. Open side over towards A. If King really does get a move on, but that might be hurt by Foxy9. Footsteps, potential. He's actually taking a long way around.
It's such a big map. I don't think he will have heard the footsteps there.
All because King decided to take a bit of a marathon sprint, and he's got time to do this.
Yeah, and he can play a post plant, but he's going to have to try to fight aggro for a kill first.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to win a passive post plant here, even as Astra with a pull, by just, you know, plant. What on earth is he up to here? He's trying to fake it out, seeing if there's still a defender over on the A side. He doesn't quite understand. He's still going to have that recalled smoke, though, as a pull. But like I say, I think he's got to try to fight for 1 pick here at least. A 1v2 you can just about manage.
He might be offered one. Him versus Foxy9. No way, they spotted each other though. King, that's cheeky.
Winnable.
Baited almost. It is winnable, especially with a star online as well for the first tap. One way in his face though. Difficult to get through. Paranoia is perfect. Buzz sticking a bit of body block in action.
Oh.
No way. They get half. Vulnerable up though, but Buzz is now sticking this, allowing Full Horse to do a lot more where that came from. It's a 4-piece in the end, but still a pistol round.
1v4, 1v3
Earned up by Buzz, just full sticking it away, and some cheeky plays as well. The mechanics on display. That's hard to do. You can try it in a custom game.
I mean, that is brilliant. We've seen so many teams at Champs try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
It only takes the slightest misalignment to throw that off, and you just both go sliding past each other. Lorking did the best that he possibly could. He even found that pick that he was looking for to bring things down into a 1v2. He's going to be gutted there. In his head, he probably thinks he got the timing wrong. It's only when he watches the VOD back later he'll realize that DRX outplayed him.
And DRX, you know, despite the comp being quite, I think, you know, boring, I think, by the standard, by a lot of teams in terms of what they're playing. You see G2 and Fnatic are throwing in. It's quite a standard comp that has a lot of ideas. It basically follows the exact same blueprint as maps like Ascent. You refresh into one way to try and control extremity control. You try and put an op in the hands of your jet player, as you see in here, Buzz. This time with the Outlaw. And it's too many angles, really, for the attackers to clear. Still, they're going to use the drone to do just that, but Buzz can disrespect it. He has that liberty, and yeah, 2 shots available. That's precisely what they're used for.
He's been so good in this position, trying to anchor.
He's been a monster. And he's looking to keep that form going. Bit of a slip-off when it comes to his matchup against Sentinels, but okay, finally denied that spot out through the back of the site. Sheriff shots need to be clean. Lowking just can't quite hit them. And Feng, oh no, dropped down to 1 HP, no chance in that spot there. 3 surviving for DRX into the next.
I wonder if the Outlaw gets picked up here, put back into the hands of Buzz. Looks like it has been.
Yeah.
That's the style that DRX love to go with. They always have somebody hard anchoring on the B site, and then the rest can flood in based off that distraction. While the rest of Trace are trying to deal with Buzz in this position, they can't really be putting their crosshairs over towards Heaven and over towards B-Link. Just allows people like Bane to flood back through.
Yeah.
And Buzz is amazing as a distraction. He's often good for 1 or 2 in that back of B site. I thought the Outlaw was going to go back into his hands, but you can see Bane picks that one up, looks towards mid, as Buzz gets the knives online. DRX have often gone for flash or dash stuff with the Blade Storm, but this time, sitting back.
Yeah, trip for the mid presence. Knife delay by Foxy9. He's looking for signs of util to be used, but contact plays, but now he takes the timing anyway. Gets the acknowledgement, just from the 1. Might not be a lot.
A spot that Benji loves playing there. Getting that break, getting that cage, sorry. Threatening. I'm not sure the cage was actually good. I believe Buzz got that sightline through, but they're going to look for an easy plant here.
Yeah, Cosmic Divide, but there's only 1 spot to play into. That's just onto the bridge, and there is util that could potentially be used to try and push this one back. Shock darts are already flying through Kaido. He's ahead of most of this one, underhanded. Foxy9, a flash to play off of, but they're going to be biding their time, waiting it up, and they have full side control. It's going to be trying to play it from B main. Rifles in hand. Feng at least dismissing Buzz out of the fight in the action now. But util back and renewed. Once more, they've got a pull for this one. They're going to be trying to body block this again. Yeah, looks like it. Why not? Second go of things. Mako. No way, man! They just stick it! It's stolen away! Players survive. You keep rifles into the necks if you are Trace, but that is just brutal.
We haven't seen another team be able to pull that off with the level of consistency required for the Astra to look useless on this map.
Who the hell was it? Someone was about to give it a go, and he said, no, actually, Mako, you do it. Yeah. It was Foxy9. He was like, no, I don't trust myself. Mako, you do it. You're so good at it. And just a full stick for flashback. The nade delayed. They think that the timing is perfect there.
And it was. The timing on everything is still really, really solid from Trace on pistol and on round 3. No problems with the way that Lorking is playing these spots. It's just that the pull is being countered.
Yeah, and it's such an odd scenario for them surviving. Money is flourishing right now for Trace with the loser's bonus. Getting ahead of the knife. Buzz does not spot any targets. Stars at his feet. It's going to be difficult and tricky to survive in this spot. It's being pulled this way, that way. Needs some help and backup from the rest of his squad. Body's opened up. What an adjustment! That is snappy. It's magnetic. And he has bought that time. Critical element for his team to get back into play.
Trace have got no chances here. Do not come to B. B is for Buzz, and he's waiting for you. It's disgusting what he's able to do with an op and outlaw at the back of this site. I don't think, unless they're going to put the Cosmic Divide up and use it again as like a tool of being able to get into B and cross these sight lines, they've got no hope. When Buzz is hitting flicks like that,
it's nasty.
What are you supposed to do about it? Even if you try to flash him off the angle, he's just going to take cover and re-peek.
Yeah.
He's so confident in himself right now. And the Trace players they just simply haven't been hitting today. If you want somebody to step up and be able to pick up a Vandal and hit that head before Buzz is able to get the scope on you, who is that going to be today? In the past at this tournament, Kai was good for it. We saw Fang Fang be good for it as well. Other players would step up at various times in other rounds. Today, it's flat the whole way through, frankly. And I do feel for them, because round 1 and round 3 essentially stolen away, despite how well Trace played those situations. And it's not consistent. I mean, most teams have struggled to perfectly align themselves to block that
Astra pull every time. I mean, it's like you said, it's not consistent. It's honestly quite ridiculous that we've seen DRX pull it out back-to-back to steal away those rounds.
Now, I don't think there's any level of actual randomness to it. It's just that it's difficult to pull off in the moment, get yourself exactly aligned. So, if that's something that DRX have practiced and they're just better at it than other teams, good luck to Lorking.
Especially if that's part of the strategy with you opting into the Astra being played. Strong post-plan util. It's getting outplayed, and now is that upgrade with the operator. Buzz has had it in the prior, jump spot. Barely seeing the shoulder. He's out of dodge, away from this cam.
Has the cam spotted him?
I don't think so. Drone's not broken. Kai has to go for a second peek of things as well, and Buzz is out in the open. Yeah, it's just, you're seeing holds, I think, in terms of the protocols of Trace.
It is a new comp, and it's a very different comp to the one that they ran the last couple of times. And relying on Kai to try to open things up for them here. But he's blocked off by a one-way on the A site. A has been slightly weaker in terms of the defense for DRX. But Mako's home. Kai would have to land a good one to take him out early.
There are so many positions that Kai potentially has to account for. There's one, though. Plucks Mako out of the picture. No longer a defender at this A side. The rest of his team can follow up off the back of it.
Yeah, that's pretty bad from Mako, actually. There was a while there that the one-way was down and he didn't realize, hadn't refreshed it.
Stray bullets up from heaven. I'm playing for this one. Kai is getting aggressive. 2 bullets left in the chamber to do some damage. Cam to clear, just the intersection of hell there. And yep, Buzz is unaware that the backside was completely lost. Still, it's traded out. The knives to no avail there for Kai. Dart's going to start a rebound here. They are pulling some of this util out of Trace. Reveal onto Heibei. Position is there, sprayed down by the bullets. A string of things going wrong now for Trace with only 2 players left, but time is still on their side. Bullets need to be landed. Transfer Lorking, slowing it down. No way! No! No way! Not again, man! Oh, goodness me.
Which fickle deity has Lorking betrayed recently? Why must all of these situations be pried cruelly away from him? In the most devastating fashions.
Yeah.
His spam is so close, but he's only got like
this
2
transfer,
bullets left in.
It's beautiful to collect the 2. And he just can't quite land it. The bullet's just running out. He can't get the weapon in time off the floor.
5 rounds in a row from DRX. And there is something that feels a little cruel about this.
Some sort of, I don't know, home territory buff or something. I'm not too sure. Luck is definitely on their side, though.
The home territory has not been a buff historically.
Oh, really? Buzz just clips the side of Heibei. Up and over the dash. The res is online because the ult was popped off. Buzz is feeling it right now. He actually is fully suppressed. We can't use too much in the form of util to save himself here in through the back. Bane, he has to try and provide that supportive fire, but he's backs himself out. Foxy9's been played himself back in. Up and over the top as Heaven was not smoke, or at least it faded. Now the paranoia glides its way in. Blind as anything. All Q's cut away, but just the tip and top of the head at Foxy9. It's taken clean off. 2v2. You can slow this down if you Trace. You have options. Bianchi going for the plan here. That's a double face. Good discipline on display here by DRX. Bianche's got to try and make that play. Dart clears in through the back of the sight, running gun from Mako. He knows the weapon well, and he knows the play to make.
And this is why DRX's strategy on B works so perfectly, because even when Buzz, Flashback get overwhelmed in that position, the distraction plays in all of their teammates.
Wait. Okay, I've just seen something ludicrous. The operator fell off the map, and somebody just jumped off the map and picked it off as the round went into the next to save the op.
Ain't no way.
I'm not kidding. I don't know if anybody can pick that up on the replay while we've got replays going, but on somebody's POV, I think it might have been Bane. He just grabbed the op as the round went into the next, off the edge of the map. And you gotta
no way.
Listen, Tracer just taking a timeout, so please, if you can grab that, that is insane.
Wait. Explain what you're talking about.
The operator fell off the map, off the edge as Buzz died.
Yeah.
And so it was retrievable, but you had to drop off the map to grab it. So they timed it as the round is ending, Bane has grabbed the operator as he's falling in midair to save it into the next.
Ain't no way.
I'm telling you.
That's unbelievable.
I'm telling you, I can't believe what I've just seen.
There's the op. You can see the op. It's still there. Oh, damn. Okay, well, Trace, to focus on them just for a moment as they're taking the tank timeout. This one has been utterly brutal. It's been so different to Lotus, and yet the scoreline suggests it's been exactly the same.
Yeah.
DRX have much better ideas on this map, absolutely, similar to Lotus. But Trace have still been in very winning positions across 3 super important eco swing rounds, and all 3 of them have gone the other way. And I think that, you know, hand on the forehead, rifling through the hair like that.
There it is. Okay, look at this.
No shot.
As the round's going into the next to save the operator. How insane is that?
That is so sick, man.
Oh
what a catch.
my God.
What a catch. How has it just landed on a little ledge down there?
I don't know. Not questioning it.
Honestly, DRX are... The ways in which they've been winning these rounds, it hasn't been luck, it has been skillfully done, but from Trace's POV when they watch this back, they'll be amazed.
And Buzz is getting ahead of this one. He's got a dash. Active, and with the Hunter's Fury as well. There is no safety. Can't stand your ground against that. Bianche drop to the spectator seat. Feng. Oh no, just about missing that timing as well, but he's trying to play Kai in. Sneaking up and creeping up through mid. There is these timings to be taken, and this is potentially frantic, but they are winning at least some of these fights. They are going their way. Dart backed off and away. Can potentially be happy the fact that they did manage to get that kill onto Mako.
Yeah, I think that this is a better situation than Trace have been in. They're now applying a lot of pressure to mid, even though there's nobody there, because DRX have got no re-clear utility. Bane doesn't have a recon, doesn't have a drone. They've just got to give up mid and hope there's no lurker. It should make the sights a little weaker. But DRX now anticipating an A hit, because B has never worked. Buzz is over here now.
And he's just so fluid with this operator in his hands. I mean, he was here at the beginning of the round, but there's a lot of angles to account for. He smoked off, away from it. Rifle fire from Foxy9, instantly traded off, but he's still taking that peek. And guess what? The flash, or at least the dash, is right back at him. And it's time to play him back in, lining up these players. In and through. Buzz is having the easiest game of his life because he's being supported so elegantly, man. He can do no wrong.
I love the recon dart as well that Bane throws out. A lot of the top Sova players are throwing that one. Learn it for your games as well. Everyone's going to take this as a learning moment, I suppose. Trace as well, because what else can you do from it? But you fire the recon the opposite side of the choke point so that as the attackers are facing towards heaven or facing towards sight, they'd have to do a 180 flick to break it. It's a nice idea. It plays Buzz in again. I mean, look, they are dominating.
Yeah.
Any area that Buzz is at is untouchable. They really can do no wrong. I think that's a great way of putting it. And from Trace's point of view, when you flip that on its head, it's like no matter what situation they get themselves in, DRX are always, they've always run into the operator. They've always got the perfect player flooding in off the back. And here they're trying to go into Buzz again. They do have the drone to try to push him off the angle.
Okay. Not that it stopped Buzz before.
No. And here in this round, pay attention to the way that the other players come in onto B.
He's been
based
missed.
off Buzz distraction.
He's been missed. Shots fired, and Buzz is right ahead of most of this.
This time they hold for Foxy9's flood.
Yes. So dropping one of the players there. Mako just cannot control the rifle. Looking sick of this. He's taking matters into his own hands and has cleared out, rooted out the stalwart defenders. Watching it slightest of off angles and wandering from Bane will be punished.
What a nice adjustment from Trace, realizing that if you focus on Buzz, you get killed by either him or everybody else. So instead, they just push Buzz back a little bit and try to kill the others coming out through Heaven, through B-Link. A really solid adjustment, I think, to try to deal with that. Unknown if that came from the tack timeout that we saw earlier or whether that's from, you know, Bianchi, for example, as the IGL trying to make that adjustment on the fly. God, Luo King hasn't been able to get it done with his utility the whole map, but
yeah,
finally, rifle out.
How many times do you see the controller player just clearing backside?
Yeah, business done.
Like I said, I mean, taking matters into his own hands.
Now imagine the comeback.
I'm imagining.
I'm still struggling, to be honest with you.
I'm engaging my brain.
I think Trace would have to put together at least some better post-plant situations. So, you know, get in, get plant down, get out, still be able to sync some post-plants, maybe get some post-plant flanks going, aggressive on-site positions, some extra layer for me to believe that they can take the majority of these next 4. DRX, are they going for an aggressive play?
So, maybe off the back of Buzz, at least the hold over towards B with the flood defending getting clocked. They want to go for something aggressive. Drone is used pretty early on the mark here for DRX, but it gets them that information. They know where Kai is playing with the operator.
Obviously here, DRX trying to push Trace into this trap on B.
Yeah.
Here.
Buzz has not popped the Blade Storm as far as I'm aware. So he's not going to be able to go for like the updraft play. Mako taking some chip.
He's right in the middle of the box. There's a flash play up and over with the dash as well. Buzz getting ahead of himself, and he realizes it's still Kai. He's watching for the exit, and there's the punish in sight. Well dissected by Trace.
Good awareness of that stuff as well. The spam onto the box, clearly aware.
It's given that player advantage up over towards him once more.
Here.
It's all about not letting it slip.
Dangerous.
Could say the same for Foxy9. You don't want to be slipping there. Hunter's Fury. They should be pushing out through the back of the side. No way. The bullets barely survived and saved in the end of the day by Mako. In through the back here with 30 seconds left. The Trace still want to make a play for this one. There's a full swarm of players here. Defending rotations from DRX. They shore it all up over towards B, and it leaves it into that 2v2, but time is no longer on the side of Trace here. They've got to try and make the play forwards for it. Bane. Miraculous. He's working magic across the site. Fung Fung sees the operator, feels like saving it, but no, just backs away with a rifle.
He's going for the save in the 1v2. I mean, if that doesn't give you a glimpse as to the mentality of Trace, I suppose the rest of the match, you could figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's another round where Trace get the opening kill. And this one, not a scrappy affair where things get traded out immediately. They just have a solid 5v4 here to try to convert on. And their spacing isn't great as they get into side. The time ends up ticking down. All of DRX are on B. Everybody. Even Flashback's full rotated away from his Cypher setup on A. Confident that Trace are not throwing anything weird into the mix. And I'm afraid it's looking just as dominant as Lotus was.
They're going all in. Into the trips too as well, up and over the top. That's a beautiful flash. Kai is played in perfectly with that. And they have dismissed Buzz as easily as that inside the cage. A bit of spam will deal enough damage. Straight bullet to the cranium, a flashback. Now the split defense play from DRX still as the smoke does dissipate. Bane trying to hold his ground, stand it down up towards Heaven. Still Kai, he's on one. Dashes here, you can feel it in power, but doesn't account for Foxy9 there, so there will be no ace. But still, with the damage done, Trace have got to be happy with that.
A much better attack. Buzz playing in a very different position as well, trying to mix things up. And he got caught by that flash up and over. That made all the difference. Round 10 though, and Trace only putting their second on the board. And Buzz is still going to have that operator. They've gone to many lengths to protect them.
Oh, they certainly have.
They've thrown themselves off cliffs to make sure.
What I really should do as well is thank the EVS team for that, I think.
Absolutely.
Listen, I don't know if they're here, but I do owe them a drink of their choosing. Because, yeah, pulling that was something special, to be honest. But you're right. And it's going to take, I think, the following up, the next 2 rounds that are left in this half to even make it, I think, a possibility for Trace to make it doable, because 8-4 at minimum, if you get pissed around and you know, moving forward.
And I know it was a very different composition that they brought out today, but Trace, historically, 20% win rate on their defense side on Abyss over the 2 games that they've played against FPX and EDG.
The map has just been a struggle for them.
But it does look like they're heavily favored to win this one. The economy, I was going to say massively favored for them, but you know, an AWP, a rifle, and a Blade Storm, to be honest with you, there's still a lot of danger that DRX can throw out here.
Stacking over towards B. Pulling players back over as well if they make the great retreat over towards A. It's a drone for a drone, and neither of it's broken, so this essentially feels, I mean, now it definitely looks like DRX know exactly what's up. They're trying to fake presence over towards B with the drone.
Yeah, and that drone from Bianca has got absolutely nothing done. In fact, it's achieved the opposite of what he intended. It's given DRX the read instead of made them confused.
Updraft dash though, here from Kai. Trying to navigate away from most of these trips as well. I believe the knife connected. Mako's inside. 1. Flashback still here. Updraft up and over. Blade Storm in hand. Not enough for Buzz to do too much more. Still Bane is there. Sheriff. Just the one before the trade. 1v2 that Foxy9 can play for. But the operator is the weapon of choice. Maybe not by his choice, but he's got to work with it nevertheless.
He might want to save the op for the final round. But even if he doesn't, this is going to be difficult. They already knew roughly where he was. Fanfan had that neural theft out.
How does he play it? This side is brutal to take. Alone. Doubled up. It's a bit of a high-low setup there by Trace. Enough to sail there through, at least out a 3rd round. Add it to the tally. One more, potentially makes it doable.
One more is all they'll have access to. I mean, they better hope that it makes it doable. Squandered their chances at a better half thus far. Kai has been the only player really opening things up. Lorking had his chances and he did a great job. So I suppose I shouldn't count him out either. But Kai's aggressive entrying has actually worked to get them into sights. They're going to double up on the attack side here, despite the fact they're set up to go for something fast on B.
Yeah,
seems
a bit of a head
odd.
scratcher. Flash and dash play out through mid as well. Hungfeng will survive. Uses the cage just to make sure he can back away there. Looking to reclaim some of that space up through mid. Now to no command.
No Blade Storm.
Emanates his way out. Trips. That is bizarre stuff that I'm seeing. Up and over Fruity's a kill trips to try and at least potentially play off here. But DRX, they wanted to try and play in front of all of this. Bodies swinging out wide and still collecting and claiming all sorts of kills.
Look how annoying that smoke is.
You want to fight it?
Not much you can get through. Another one-way. Blooms and blossoms. How do you play your way past this one? Cosmic Divide is committed here. Lao King wants to try and get himself in, but that's an underhanded with a flash. Cleaning up. Still walking straight into Kai. Does have the Blade Storm. Up and over now. Updraft dash. Nowhere near is his teammate playing with him, though, and as that fades away, that is great reactions. Kai once more has to be that playmaker. Steps up to that challenge. Wasn't quite a tap, now a full stick. Feng's been smoked off though, and the angle not watched for. He's looking all the way up into the high ground still. Down to just Kai. Again to do it. Dodges the paranoia, but plenty of bullets raining down onto him. Up and over. He's hoping and hunting for the head. Operating out in his hands. Maybe a chance to isolate one of these fights. Mako! What is going on, son? Dashing away. You cannot escape your fate. Bane tracks him down with perfection.
Kai did what he could there in the final moments. But it's still only going to be 3 for Trace. I thought Mako was about to throw himself off the map there.
It looked like it, man. It looked like it, but still.
DRX maintain control, don't they?
Held him down, yeah.
Love the way that they've been playing this map in general. They only need 4 more to close things out.
That's looking like dominance, though. Another similar tale that's just weaved here by DRX. We're going to see if it continues into Abyss.
Red Bull gives you wings.
알지 피리라 빠져 메인 맛이 피리라 빠져 이건 누구를 넣어서 실내 가기 전까지 그는 없어 피리라 빠져 메인 눈치 필요 없어 메인 나이 땅에서 갈 수 있는 건 나가고는 떠날래 세상을 뜯는다고 될 때까지 거지가 잠깐만 난 A 플러스 여기까지는 안될 거리가 터지는 하웨이 속도에서 나 들려 네 목소리가 빠르게 바뀌어 네 캐시미어 너는 잘난 팀 난 Ray Turn this up yeah turn this up yeah turn this up yeah turn this up yeah watch me pop the top ready to the club yeah shawty in my crib it's a light yeah and let me hit it I just wanna it's so fun I know that baby I just wanna take it right to your turn I don't need it too much when everything all the same got me with this shit now whoa go crazy go crazy
All eyes on to the pistol round here, 9-3, DRX. Once more, I mean, in terms of just finishes for the first half, you can feel, I think, very confident if you're a DRX fan. I think DRX themselves are going to be feeling very confident, I think, heading into this next follow-up in through Abyss.
And for Trace, it really is only those two players at the top of the scoreboard that are doing much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kai's 17-9. How do you get that scoreline when you're down 9-3? That is pretty ridiculous, no? But yeah, almost 6 times as many kills as the people at the bottom of the scoreboard.
That's
and
insane.
Historically, the defense has been bad for Trace, but it's a brand new comp. We should probably just reset our expectations, but it's difficult to reset, and even more difficult for those players down on stage to reset after what they've experienced so far today. Kai's gonna have to go nuclear, I think, to be able to win this one.
Even more so. Very familiar position. Been watching Buzz perched up onto that ankle all map long. Over the top though, lineups for days here from Foxy9. This is going to be attempting to disrupt any sort of hold. Flash, updraft dash in through the smokes as well, but a kill's collected on either side here with the Jets going down. And now barreling the way forwards. DRX just trying to take a bit of space in through the back of the site. They haven't actually disjointed some of these players. Hey, Bay Sheriff cannot get the job done there. Just one stray shot to the chest. Mako watching for the hop up.
That's a really important fight.
And they're winning all of them. Lao King. Second top performer. It's been heartbreak for him in terms of the rounds where he could have had that impact. Stopped in his tracks. Taking these fights, very individualistic, but yet Mako's there eventually to swing and collect up the kill alongside Flashback. That's 10 rounds now for DRX, a pistol round as well. And for Trace, what options do you have at this point? I mean, you've got a force, I think, really, but you're on the defense side, you don't have the plant money. It's not looking good.
No, I don't think they're going to be able to force just based on eco. They didn't even kill enough players. I think this is DRX, long suspected after what we saw.
Where the players are looking, they don't know how all.
And it is really confidence building, I think, for DRX and for DRX's fans to see them come out in their first game of the lower bracket.
It's a play cooked up by Trace. Trying to use the weaker weaponry and util maybe that they can
out in their first game of.
They definitely needed it, I think, in terms of Pacific representation, the Korean representation too, at this event in Seoul.
The Korean fans here in person would be absolutely gutted. And very unexpected to lose Gen G and DRX this early. It would have been unthinkable.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like it's going to occur. Trace go for a stack in the right place, but
exactly
doesn't catch too much.
Everybody accounted for. Up to 11 here for DRX. At least you get the rifles online if you are Trace. But yeah, the fans, they needed something. It's not just signs of life from DRX as well, though. This is just purely a clean sweep almost in terms of a win.
Yeah, it's dominant. And it's also 2 maps that they're really strong on and have showcased that they're really strong at this event. DRX's Lotus was kind of so-so before coming into Champs, but I think the addition of adding that chamber in certainly caught Fnatic off guard. That's a huge win to be able to get, and it's worked beautifully here as well. And Abyss has just been home territory for them.
Yeah, they're going to go for the B-hit simulator. Look at the util, just sails up and over the head.
They're very practiced.
Yeah, Fung Fung makes a go of things, just peeking past it. Again, he's going to get traded. Trying to take the fight outside of Heaven. Foxy9 with his plan, and it's in quite a difficult spot as well to try and pick apart. If you're trying to play the retake now as Trace. Spammable box corner. You've got Buzz taking point as well. They're going to have to use util to try and clear him out. Knife against it. Through the back wall. Tags onto him, so they know that Buzz is playing into this spot, but the drone's going to be used as well. Sees multiple players spamming away. Bullet's not landing, though. Not through that box. One way in for the smoke, and the dart snaps it round to the behind. Buzz, though, eventually overwhelmed. The util is good, but still time starting to tick. This is where the problems start to stack. Trace, they need to try and hold these guns and hold them well. Fire in line, sticking it forwards. Now the defense needs to come online, but again, Bullet straight through the wall. And then Foxy9 even fooled. Flashback was wrapping it all the way there.
DRX do end up losing their weaponry towards the end of things here. But I mean, this round, it's looking like it could be exactly identical to Lotus. 13-3 is on the horizon. And the way that DRX dealt with that did end up just being textbook. And I think that word could be used to describe how the Korean squad has played all day.
They're going into it again. Listen.
Run it as a scrim at this point.
Exactly. Limit testing. They don't want to give away footage of how they play the rest of the map. They can't stop the B hits. Just keep running it. Flashes are connecting. Nade in through the back as well. Fang, that's good. Stands it down still. Damage was done to him, so he was softened, weakened enough for the stray bullets of Bane to find him. In through the smoke as well. There's time is to be taken. Behind K and Kai, they are capitalizing. Mako drops him, crouch down, coverage, and fire over the shoulder still. Leaves Mako into that 1v2, and Hey will deliver those death blows. Enough for Trace to survive another day.
Perhaps DRX are going to have to bring something different out heading into the round after this one. Going to be going into an eco for DRX. The amount of util dump that goes in onto that backside player is phenomenal. Fang does a great job in that moment to be able to get a kill out of that. He's flashed up, runs into a fragment grenade, has to readjust very, very quickly. But all of these bright spots, they can't quite obscure the scoreline at the top. And we do often see eco rounds to close out these kind of situations.
We saw it on the last map.
Yeah. That time, though, there were Stingers online. This time, sure. Genji, DRX only coming into Sheriff. That's
maybe wishful thinking on your part. Do you hope that Genji was in playoff, Josh? It's not the case. Got to lay your hopes on DRX's shoulders.
Would have been nice for the stories, but alas, I'm another broken Genji fan that's here to support DRX now.
Smoke at the feet there for Buzz. Trying to obfuscate whether or not he's crossed that one, and does pull out an ult. I mean, Heibei's using an ult command. You can feel just how tested and pulled, I think, Trace are, that even against the weaker buy, they feel like they have to use ults.
Now going back into Kai, a full rotate while Trace stay anchored to A. The cam spots it out. This should start the defensive rotates coming through. And yet, it wasn't real.
What is happening here?
What is going on? The entire war chest is being unloaded, and in what direction? Where's that going, Bianca?
Listen, if there's
anything... thought it was B.
Yeah, and it clears the way to absolutely nothing still. Now the indicator is on, but they've used so many ults into this round. It's already a win for DRX, even if they lose the round. Up and over with the dash. Attempt to play these players in. Foxy9. Just the one before he's shut down. 12-5, but as we were saying, I mean, what is going on with the ults?
A bit panicked, and I think that's what's going to happen when you've only won 8 rounds to your opponent's 25. You know, when they're winning 3x more rounds than you are over the course of the entire match, you're going to get shook in these kind of situations and feel like you've got to use the ults to close them out. It seems like a decent protocol on a rifle round if that had been a B hit, but it was a cute fake into a re-hit called by Mako. It's created a massive ult advantage for this one. Though having said that, oh, hello, Kai, up and over.
Yeah, Flashback not dodging the dart either, so he was lit up. There was chances for Kai to rip the opposition's head off. Cam up. This feels precarious. I mean, there's backup arriving potentially there with a deep knife as well.
They're leaving.
Yeah, Cam is cleared.
Kai.
Oh, Flashback's caught him.
Well, I mean, Kai's teammates just left him out to die. They marooned him on a desert island.
Yeah. No SOS or smoke signal saving you there. No rough theft online for Flashback, you can hear it. He's got it. Hat flung wide, gives him that information now. They know it's split, straight down the middle. 2 for 2, Loud King's position, out through the back of the side as well. Where's the supportive util? Flash is there, it's perfection again. The execute's clearly drilled well by DRX. Util up and over, Bianca, he's hoping he can spam and spray down. Oh my goodness, he's moving all over the place. The aim is going wild and so are the bullets.
He hit his jump button throughout the middle of that as well.
Oh boy. Trace, left to pick up the pieces, but only 2 left to do it now. This is it. Turning point in the map, in the series. DRX on a blinder. Form playing that significant factor. And they've got a chokehold onto this side into the post plant. Good luck getting through this. Good luck stepping over that barrier and that finish line. DRX, it's flawless once more to finish the map. And almost perfect all the way through, out. Cleaning up the lower bracket game, and it does mean that Trace, unfortunately, will be eliminated.
Flawless, clean, textbook. A great match, I think, to restore a bit of confidence to DRX fans who might have been worried that the last bastion of hope for Pacific, for Korea, was going to end up in an inglorious end. I mean, they certainly looked excellent today. They got to showcase 2 of their best maps and dominated, crushed Trace.
Yeah.
But what a performance from Trace to even get to this point. The fact that they went out ignominiously does not mean that their results from the group stage should be looked down upon. Bianca, Mr. Upset, back here on a big stage, delivering results against Vitality, against Leviathan. And Heibe as well got the full range of emotions, from tears to a determined look after his win in groups.
Absolutely.
And now a bit of disappointment, I'm sure, but today belongs to DRX.
It does, they survive. One more day, a little bit longer in through the playoffs as well, a chance to potentially dish out some damage and get revenge for the Korean compatriots that were failed in the groups. They have that chance, they've earned it here and today.
Yeah, and I think they didn't just survive, they made a statement, I think.
Yeah.
That these 2 maps, they can crush teams that have earned their spot in playoffs if you're not ready for them. If you're not confident enough on Lotus, on Abyss, DRX will happily take you there. A deep map pool, and this team's starting to get a bit of momentum going.
Flexing their muscles with it in multiple ways. I mean, it really was just DRX consistently flexing, and yeah, unfortunate for Trace with a few of these early rounds, these moments where, you know, you just think a few stray bullets potentially land onto the players when they're trying to pull something like that off. Maybe it makes a difference.
And maybe it would have made a difference to make it a closer game on Abyss, but I don't think there was a world today, at least, where Trace were going to win this map.
Yeah.
And certainly on Lotus, because they didn't actually even have those winning moments, those possibilities on Lotus. It was all pure domination from DRX. Today, there was a gap between these 2 teams.
There really was. I had questions about form for individual players, whether Buzz is going to be able to play back up to it after getting